Greetings. Welcome to Meru University of Science and Technology. Today, we are having a session on women empowerment. Joining us today is a special guest. Stay tuned.
My name is Professor Gichuki. I'm currently the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Administration, Finance and Planning. When I was growing up, I never thought I would be a woman in leadership, let me be honest. But what inspired me into science, to STEM, it's life. I grew up in a remote countryside when forests were indigenous forests, natural. And my home was surrounded by, across the river there was a natural forest whose beauty and intrigue would inspire me. I was behind, there were some two brothers older than me and my sisters. And they would make us go into that forest with them, and discovery started at young age, discovering science, life, animal lives, plant lives. And actually just started appreciating the beauty of that nature when I was a small girl. And then we would wake up early in the morning and watch the sunrise and the sunsets. And then my brothers, just being boys in Uchago, would build carts out of wooden carts that would carry us, and they would push us down the valley on those. So science was very intriguing, very exciting, very scary at the same time. And when I was growing up, we appreciated those things and we were so happy. We would disappear into the forest and sometimes not how to get home, and then the brothers would climb a tree and say, "Oh, we see a landmark." Then we'd come out and start walking home. But that really triggered an excitement and an interest in nature first. And then the things the brothers would do to make work easier, they were doing engineering at a very basic level. And the way it would make it so much easier to carry, like a bag of mbolea. I don't know whether everybody will understand mbolea, but it's manure from animal sheds down the valley to our garden, making work easier. That was so science, and somehow it spoke to my life when I was a very young girl. And when I went through school, and I was blessed to have a talent in understanding things, and I was good both in art and science, at the level where we had to actually now zero in on whether we want to be scientists or we want to be artists. And my career teacher asked me whether I want to go into sciences or I want to go into arts. I wasn't sure. I told her I don't know. This is probably the person who is good in both sides. At that time, I didn't even know I was good in both sides. And she actually made me look into myself, and I realized then, if I was to lose any of the subjects, I did not want to lose biology. So without knowing, then I identified my passion in biology. So the inspiration was life, but my career teachers and my learning and studies kind of helped me identify my passion. The one thing I did not want to leave behind, which was biological sciences. This is not necessarily an intellectual opinion. Being a woman myself, a mother and a grandmother, and having to bring up family, the sciences, when I was growing up, people who are about to be scientists were about to be, But life, as I live, as a woman, today I would like to talk to a woman architect, because she will understand why I need the kitchen the way I need it and why I want it placed the way it is. I am a user. If the user who suffers the misses in what science can bring to life requires that someone talks about it, who has now the skills and the knowledge in science, it would make life so much easier. Most of the inventions that make our lives easy were made by men when they were made to do things like wash clothes. So they made washing machines. Like made to make wash dishes, oh, they made dishwashers. Or made to clean the house, they made vacuum cleaners. But if the user is the person who has to deal with that, then you will not only have more inventions, but you will have inventions that work much better. I'm a vet because my passion is in animals and life sciences. And because of our cultural setup, when I go to visit a woman, or when I go to visit a farmer, they have a problem with the animals. If I go with my male contemporary, chances are my male contemporary will be taken as a male visitor by the lady who actually works with the animals. And like him, when I go to her home, I'll greet the dad. Then the woman and me will go through the kitchen. By the time we are picking firewood to make that cup of tea, I have seen the animals or where they live. I am talking to the person who actually deals with the animals. They may not be the owner, but they deal with the animals. So if you were to be engaged with my very good male vet, I'll have more impact on the ground because I'm speaking to the person who implements the few comments we make. And that's why having women in STEM, in whichever engineering, will give you the perspective that a man will not give you, not because he has failed, they are very good, but she probably has more access to the family and the people that use the things that we are making in science than the man will be allowed to have. So it is important to have women in STEM. STEM itself doesn't have challenges that specific to women. Maybe our socialization might bring that. But I am glad to see where we are in Kenya because we are not so tied up to them anymore. When I was going through school, and I went through a technical school, the girls' class would not be allowed to take engineering courses. We were just allowed to take something like office practice because there were certain social restrictions to a girl be going under a car or climbing up into power poles. But that is not a problem per se to a woman. The problem is our socialization, was our socialization. Today I don't think STEM itself presents a problem to a female, to a woman. As long as they are gifted and they are talented in that field, STEM itself is not a problem. There will still be communities in Kenya that will provide social restrictions, not problems, social challenges for a woman to enter certain science. I don't know whether some of the courses, these days I see women on the high transmission voltage lines, power, 30 meters above the air. The restriction by height there for a person, whether they are women or male, is your personal. I'm afraid of heights. I don't think I would do that job. But if I was trained, I might get used to it. But there are other women who are not afraid of doing something like that. So STEM itself is not the restriction or the challenge. The challenge is our socialization. But I am glad to see Kenya opening up. When I was a young lady, I once walked up to the brigadier in the Air Force after finishing my first degree, and I wanted to join the Air Force. Alinicheka sana, laughed at me. What did you say? I want to join the Air Force. I want to fly the MiGs. Alicheka. He laughed. We do not take women. He didn't explain any further. So the restriction was not on my side, but on the social structure of our country and some of the professions then. I believe that those restrictions no longer exist. I believe today my daughter can join Air Force if she wanted to. My time, I could not. I'm in the generation that has to bust those social restrictions. So in my time, there were things I couldn't do even if I wanted to do them. And I believe right now that's not a restriction to women. The social, yes. Even being in leadership, being where I am a woman, it's still not very accepted by the society. We still face some restrictions. Albeit, we are now busting that. That is getting accepted as time moves on. For us, even to make an opinion in a boardroom, you have to be above the barrier where you are assertive. Assertion is not always taken very nicely from a woman. So those are some of the challenges. Did you ask how we overcome them? It's a lifelong learning. And the best way to overcome them is first of all to have facts. Be sure of what you're saying. Because of the society, a lot of times by the time you see a woman standing up and saying, no, it is this way the procedure is, they probably know, they are probably more sure about it than a man, because you have, by the time you're saying that, you know even if it was tested, it will stand. So I don't know whether that's a challenge or it's an advantage. Because by the time I stand to say, no, it's not that way, this is the way. The fact is this one, I will have fact. Because I have learned through experiences that my word will be tested something like 3 times more than a man's word. My passion, really my very deep passion, is to build people. That might sound like a cliche, but what really gives me joy is to build a community, any community, from one level of excellence to a higher level of excellence. And my communities don't matter who they are. It can be the staff, it can be the students, it can be some small-scale farmers, it can be some guys doing informal markets. And God has given me opportunity to work with those different groups. Very small-scale farmers, informal markets gathering. I have worked with students in the university. And now I work with staff. I have this responsibility as an administrator to work with staff. The fact that you can change somebody's life from, it doesn't matter how high you take them, but from one lower level to a higher level, that is what gives me joy that money cannot pay for. It is what I could do without a pay. It is what I do without a pay. Because I know the joy of seeing that person actually believe in themselves and probably even fly to heights that I'll never scale. That joy, which is a joy of a teacher, is not something I can put in words, and there is no pay that can equal that. Passion. Is that what I can do without pay? Yes, I can do that without pay. It might not be the dictionary word of success. Success to me is actually managing to impart that what you can do without pay. If I can change somebody from one level of performance, from one level of existence, from one level of believing in themselves, even to only one step higher than that, and you manage to transmit that people change their lives because you have interacted with them or you have been in their life and they change, that's to me, that's success. That's what success is to me. If I can sit in this office and some people, by interacting with me, learn that they can grow to another level, or they can leave what they are doing and go and have self-realization outside what they are doing, even if it means me losing an employee I love. For me, that's what success is. Have you made a difference in anybody's life? Are they happier because your life and theirs crossed paths? For me, that's my definition of success. It's not necessarily the dictionary. I'm not sure I know how to answer that question, because what is having it all? Women live, we live life, and life is a journey. It has its obstacles. You don't die because you have found an obstacle. Can you have family, career, and success? Yes, you can. But it depends on how you view that as success. What is your definition of success? What is your definition of a career? What is your definition of family? As far as I'm concerned, all of that is life. You don't even leave them separately. You grow up, you're a grown-up woman, you become a wife, you become a mother, you have children. You don't stop working because now they don't take up all of your life. They are part of that life. You share your life with them and your spouse, and you truly just share it as much as you can. Whether by doing what you're doing in sharing that life in or outside the career is successful will be defined by your outcomes, or will be defined by how you view it. Do I view having a family success? I don't know. I don't know. But does it give me joy? And is joy part of a successful life? Yes, it does give me joy. Has it taught me things? Yes. You know, we have children and we think we are going to teach our children things. I have learned more from the family than I have given them. I have learned so much more. I have learned that they actually were brought into my life to teach me things. I have grown. And because of growing in that family circle, it has helped me grow in my career. First and foremost, when you have a family, you have more responsibility, so it inspires you to go get more. You work harder, you grow in career, you change careers because this career is not giving me the money that will take care of my family, or it's not enough to give me the amenities I want. So you change careers because the demand from the family is actually pushing you to grow, to look for better. How do you manage time between career and family? If I have been successful, I do not know. I do not know whether I've been successful here. But what I know is that today I'm friends with the children. We are friends. And sometimes when I was going through now, the family growing and the career growing, there were times when I thought, like, I'm not sure I know where I am in this tunnel. Because it's busy, very busy, very busy, very tight. Actually, I was shocked by my last born son. One time I could not go for his visiting day because I think I was out of the nation. When I came the following weekend, I pleaded with the teacher to let me see him. And then he's the youngest. So I was like, I'm so sorry, I did not make it for visiting day last Saturday. He was like, Mom, I'm in Form 3. You've never missed a visiting day. I didn't know I had never missed a visiting day. If you ask me whether I planned that or it's because I'm super organized, I will tell you no. And I'm saying that anybody can have a full life and a good career and success in both areas, not because you're super organized, but because God does arrange our lives. You can have it all as long as you trust God. Because life is not without obstacles. What I have learned with my extremely turbulent growth in life and in career is that God allows you to have your set of those obstacles. You can have it all. God means for you to have it all and even be successful. You need to realize the obstacles in your life are the very things that God sends to you to equip you and to build your capacity. And if He has allowed you to have a family, not all of us have that advantage, and if He has allowed you to have a career, He's able to take you through. And at times, both the family and the career can be the grinding force that propels you to succeed. Now I'm almost a senior citizen, and when I look down my life, yes, God has blessed me, and I have a career. I've had a career, and I've had a family, and we are all grown now. Whether we are successful, honestly, I don't know. All I know is that the journey has been a hard journey. How my journey has been. I give my journey to God. Because I'm not a very strong person. And life, sometimes, the journey has difficulties. God throws obstacles. I remember I used to be a very shy girl. I could hardly look my father in the eye when I was growing up. But what I can tell you is that the journey, God brings difficulties so that you can overcome. By the time I finished a PhD, I could have stood in front of the president and given him a scientific paper. I'm still a bit shy. But compared to where I came from, the obstacles and the responsibilities that God puts in your life are meant to overcome your constraints, your challenges, so that you can be what He meant you to be. Even now, I think God is still shaping me. So the journey has had its difficulties there. The journey has thrown terrifying situations in my face. I have faced times when I thought I would not go on. I have faced times when I thought I'll lose my job tomorrow. I have faced challenges that made me to stand up. I have faced journeys where I told God, I can't stand this, and if you do not take over, let me fall through. Take my life now. And that, I mean journey, because you cannot separate your life from work and from home, because something bad happens at home, it will affect your work life. And it is now on hindsight that I look at the most challenging parts of my life are the very parts that empowered me most. They are the ones that empowered me most. Every time you face a threatening situation that threatens to wipe you out of your career, and then somehow God passes you through that, gives you the words and the thing that you need to know, and you're on the other side and you look back, your trust in God grows, your confidence grows. Your fear of a similar situation is annihilated. You never fear a situation like that. But life, the journey in life is funny. It throws another situation that you've never faced before. The difference between, and even bigger than what you had faced that time. But then the experiences you go through life that you can say were obstacles are the ones that gives you the confidence to face even bigger mountains in the future. Whether you're a Christian or not, the challenges that you find in your life, I dare say they didn't happen by coincidence. They are orchestrated by God so that you face that, so you can be strong to face even a bigger challenge. Every time you go through a challenge and you think this was going to wipe me out and you are through on the other side, even probably made you change direction altogether. I may be sounding like a preacher, but my faith in God is what has helped me. I have learned that God will throw a situation to make you change direction. And I can't say I have stayed steadily on one career and grown through one career. I started off as a vet, went through research, and then the university is like my final career. And in all of them, I grew. And it was not easy. It's because, not in spite of, because of the challenges. That's what made me grow. It's what makes us grow. So the journey, I can't say has been smooth. I've resigned from jobs because I wasn't going to settle for a ceiling at 32. I have been thrown out of jobs because there were certain things that we deferred in principle. But being thrown out of the job at one time, I thought, this is going to kill me, I was terrified, I panicked, and I was terrified in that free fall time. And for that, at least that's where my faith grew. And God landed me on another job and started my growth again. So the journey to where I am is not smooth. Life, not just for me, but for anybody listening to this, throws challenges at you and serious obstacles. Some of the obstacles completely close the path you're thinking I'm going this way and makes you change direction. I have learned that the joy I have experienced in growing in career has been because of those obstacles, slowing me down, making me change direction, and making me discover things that I wouldn't have thought of learning. As an animal scientist, I never thought I would have to deal with plants or trees or ICT as a tool of community development, my passion to grow people. I never thought I would use those as tools or entry points. But God has given me the opportunity to do all of that. Teach in a class, right? Sit in a lab and discover things that would change people's lives. Work with plants, bananas and trees to change the livelihoods and economic pathways of many people in communities. Work with ICT as an entry point to change the way people did their marketing jobs in Githurai, an informal market. So basically I walked through like 4 different career paths. The end point is I enjoyed the journey. I would not give it up for anything. So some of the obstacles make you change. Some of the challenges in life, like I'm not waking up, I have to do something else to do a moonlight. It's where you find yourself doing funny things that are outside your career path. But in all of them, even though they don't sound like they're in my career path, they have spurred growth in me as a professional, and me as a person, and me in my faith in believing in God. And when I look back, yes, it was joyful, it was fun. So today I'm not afraid of walking out of this job and changing my career. I know for a fact that it will still be fun. So what I'm saying, my career path has been full of changes. But what keeps me happy and enjoyed and engaged is that opportunity to keep learning something new. That is, I can't put that in words. It's very nice. I am the kind of people who are like a perpetual student. If there's something new to learn right now, I'll embrace it because I know what it does to me. Wacha wale wengine mimi. I don't think the education system needs to change to do that. It's our co-curricular life that needs to change that. Education, getting a degree is one gift. It's one gifting. Getting a second degree is another gift and an opportunity. Getting a PhD is still another gift, Anna. But we are testing intellect that time. And by the time our kids come to the university, they're good. One of the things I love about being in the university is that the students we receive, seriously, they've been received the best brains. Seriously, they are good. It's fun. Teaching is so much fun. It's one of the things that I really miss in the university, to be in a classroom, to interact with them. The education system can probably introduce some challenges to help both girls and boys to discover their passion and provide opportunities for them to see what they could do with the skills that they are collecting. If only there was a way for me to help a student who enters or who is choosing a path in the university to identify what's their passion. And then advise them, oh, that's what your passion is about, yeah. Gain skills to help you work in that passion field. This is what I tell my PhD students. Okay, you're in this field. What really tickles your passion? A good number of them tells me, I don't have passion. I think that in itself is a sad statement. It's a sad statement because all of us have something we're passionate about, maybe. I don't know whether that would be the education system. I mean, if that could put in an education system to help our students identify what their passion is and guide them through a path that will skill that passion, then the workforce we produce outside there will be working not for the pay, but to satisfy their passion. Perhaps we should introduce learning communities. I don't know whether that's the right name to call it, but a learning community would bring you a person in media together with a guy in electrical engineering or even mechanical and a musician. The whole group that's required to solve a problem. Having done biological sciences and went ahead and did molecular biology from postgrads, then having to go out there and talk to a small-scale farmer who never went to school about how they would actually take up a biotechnology to change their way of living humbled me, taught me some humbling lessons. Actually, they don't care how much I know. They don't even care that I have a solution for their problems. I need to make my solution make economic sense to them, speak to their passion. And once it spoke to their passion, I actually sat back and learned a few hard lessons from micro-scale farmers in Kenya. One, I might have the solution, and why should they believe me? I learned that I have to keep contact with them for at least 3 months. And I used to visit those groups every fortnight for those 3. Now, in 3 months, they realized, maybe this one is serious. They actually started listening. And once they listened and caught on, then it was my job to play catch up with them. I learned a lot. And the project, as a result, was a big success. For me to learn that, I had to come out of the lab and come out of the scientist, utilize the extension skills I had learned in veterinary medicine. How am I saying? I'm saying if there was a way of us to get the students within the university to experience now real life situations, even within themselves. What do you, media person, think about a vet and how on earth can we work together? But the day we discover how important it is, how much I could gain by reaching maybe pastoral communities through the radio, your field, and telling them little snippets of information that will change the way they look at their herd and how they take care of it so that they have a higher productivity if I can teach a group of students how to do that, as a conglomerate, as a group, as a learning community, there's a media person there who tells them, no, that's not how you talk to people. Actually, even in talking to people this way, maybe you could make it a song. We could do a road show. You know, as a biological scientist, I don't know what a road show is. I don't know what magazines are. I don't know how to communicate that good message to them. If we can manage to start letting an electrical engineer know that I have more to gain working with a media person than just being fearful the way I'm afraid of cameras. being fearful that together we can reach a bigger goal than when I try to deliver my solutions alone. Then we would change the student from being an absorber of information and knowledge to a person who is taking up information, changing it into a communicable information, working with others who can help me communicate that information better to make bigger impact in the society that we are creating new to become a human resource for. If there is a way we can change education or incorporate these things, or even introduce some flex in our training so that a person like Atherton there can take time off, work in a media house, for him to completely hone what is his passion in that media. I am an ICT person. I have interest in media. But what is my passion in these two, and how can I bring them together? If we can find ways of incorporating spaces in our learning life for them to experience that and for their passion to be fired, then when he comes from that experience, he will come to class and he knows, I need skills for this. I don't know whether that requires for us to change the education system or to input co-curricular activities into it that helps our client, our most important client, the learner, to identify and play in a place where the skills they are collecting can plug into society straight and can fire their passion so that they know, I want to specialize in this one. Because when a person works in life, what gives you success and what gives you even growth in career is your passion, not your skills. You're skilled when you come out of an ICT class. But the passion in which you start learning, once you know how to fire your passion, you will not only learn better, you will collect the right skills. And you will be an inspiration when you're out there. I think the most powerful value is to believe in God. And truly believe in what God called you into this world to do. I truly believe that every one of us was called into our mother's womb by God himself. And when he did that, he placed a purpose in our life. And that in itself, that's the treasure that's in you. So someone should, first of all, value that. That's your biggest value. That's what God placed in your hands. And so God puts you through a path in life to build capacity for you to utilize that to accomplish the purpose he called you on earth to do. So the values you should have, the biggest is a true belief in God and believing that God is for you. It doesn't matter what you face. So if you did that and be true to it, be true to yourself, be true to God first and foremost, then you'll be an honest person who has integrity, who will work because you know that there's a purpose that God placed you on earth to do. And only you can do that because we are all unique in our different ways. So if you truly believe God did that because there's something he wants to do with your life that's going to change this world and the journey you will go and the places you will sojourn, then valuing that will spur you to have diligence, integrity, which encompasses all the other nice things, honesty, genuine, and most of all, a passion. Diligence, it inspires you to work hard, it inspires you to be straight. If you truly believe in God and know that whatever you're bringing out, you're doing it for God, you'll be careful not to walk on people's toes, not to abuse what God has placed on other people. So I think what really determines the values you bring out is who you perceive God to be. If you're all in all, you'll be honest, you'll be diligent, you'll work with integrity. Hello. You know, it's amazing that you talk of law. The world, I think we have a propensity, our default is to break laws. Trust God with all of you. Believe He is for you. Work. Do everything that you do, knowing that you are doing it for God. If you do that, you not only do things right, but favor will follow you. If you truly believe in God and if you are seeking Him, He speaks to you. And those that know God, they know that He shows you the path to follow. They know that even if there's trouble, even if things are so tight, He will get you out. There's a phrase I heard from a Holocaust movie, a movie that had actually broke me. And then there were these ladies in a concentration camp. And one of the ladies, an older sister to another one, told the younger sister, no matter how deep the pit, God is deeper still. Meaning there is no pit that God cannot scoop you out because He's deeper than that pit. So if you trust God and you truly believe God brought you into this world for a purpose and you work unto God, then it doesn't matter where you are. It can be a deep pit, but it's deeper than that pit. It can be trouble, but God is able to deliver you from that trouble. So the law is, do you know who you are? Do you know whose you are? Do you work unto the whose you are? And do you believe that your God is bigger than any problem? So it's, I don't know whether that's a value, I don't know whether that will be a law. But if people worked on that basis of honor, because you honor who brought you, then the things you do will be honorable. That doesn't mean you never make a mistake. But even if you made a mistake, you have the highest chance of recovering from those mistakes and still making impact. You know, I don't know what they mean they do not have a mentor. Because it depends on what you define as a mentor. I don't know if I asked you, you are a young man, what you define as a mentor, I don't know what comes to your mind. For me, a mentor is a person who teaches me life by living. It's not a teacher. It is not my idol, you know? I mean, for instance, young girls would like to be princesses. I've never wanted to be a princess. I think it's a difficult job being a princess. So that would not be my mentor. If you look at small girls who are going through university, maybe what they think of mentors are people who are in places of authority. Maybe a professor, a DVC, a doctor, a surgeon. Yeah, it would be good to aspire. Those are people who actually inspire your dreams. But a mentor is a person who walks and lives with me and teaches me life and profession by living it. By living it. I'm blessed to be a professor, and I'm blessed with the gift of studying because it's a gift. And I probably never found it as difficult to score points as maybe contemporaries who dropped out in standard 7 or even Form 4. But that in itself is a gift. My mentors is not one person. It's a mix of people with whom I have lived. And a mentor is not a teacher. It's not a person who stands in front of me with a clipboard. It's not a person I follow with a notebook. It's a person we live together and I pick lessons about life, about my profession, about my faith with. All people, including you, your first mentor is your parents, is your mother. My mother did not even go through the complete primary school education. Yet the wisdom on how to live life, how to treat others, how to believe in God, she gave me that in my formative years. In my professional years, I've been taught by teachers, I've been inspired. My dreams have been inspired by people who have excelled in my profession. Are they my mentors? Yes, some of them are my mentors. But today, as a professional woman, I have mentors in their 80s. My mother would be my mother's age now. My mother passed on. But when I go to see them, because some of them I consider them mothers. You know how an African community, you have mothers. Some of them I consider them mothers. They don't teach me life by telling me this is how you should do it. It's that day I go to see them because I want to be near a mother and we live life. Watching her do life. Watching her do things. Some of them, I met them in my profession when I was the doctor for their animals. They were just farmers who were receiving services from me, and we got to be friends. But today when I spend an afternoon with them, it's like spending a week in a seminar. Seeing how they take care of their animals. Seeing how they're coping with the problems of life and making a living in the farm, on the farm. Then they are being farmers, and I am seeing through my professional eyes lessons that I pick that change my perspective, even when advising others. People I work with and I live with, just living life. We'll probably be taking a cup of tea, and if they are on a farm, we go around collecting eggs, looking after animals, showing me what they are doing with the irrigation. And those are the things that spur what I would like to do. They also spur the professional in me. They actually mentor me on how to transmit knowledge, because knowledge, it's not transmitted until that person can convert that into a product in their hands. Like, for instance, if it's a farmer, if they can convert that into more eggs, into better animals, into more milk, into more fodder. Unless they can convert that, then it remains just knowledge in me. But when it's transferred to them, it becomes a product. So it is mentors. I get mentors in all sorts of groups, age groups. And it's not just those people that are older than me. I'll sit with a young person like you, and I'm seeing what you're doing with all these gadgets and asking me these questions. And I don't know whether it's because I'm an African. Maybe my definition of a mentor would not fit the dictionary mentor. It may not even fit the real meaning of the mentor. But when I watch you doing things and what you could do to help me change the way I teach, then I know together you can mentor me on how to use this digi world to make my transmission of knowledge to the students much easier, and especially to fit them where they are, from my analog self to their digital. So today I keep thinking, if only I had the ability to convert my lessons or my seminars, because now I don't teach, I do seminars, I build capacity in a different group, that group for them to see it. You see the things you guys do, like you think it's the next thing, you can actually manage to do artificial intelligence, you can do virtual reality. You know, I don't even know how to say those things that combined you call XR. You know, I don't know how to do those things. But if I could go back to class with XR, so there's virtual reality and there's intelligence, then I can show my student how a fetus in the womb folds and becomes an animal or a human being. If only I could make that particular lesson become real. So I would need mentors who are much younger than me, because that is their world, not mine. I also need mentors who are as old as my grandmother and my mother, who have lived life and have a lot more experience than I have. And they show me how to live life. And I get to understand and to see as they live their world, to collect the knowledge and the experience they have. And I would like to incorporate that in the profession I have, and incorporate that in the world that you live in, and make it a virtual reality for a student of today. So, mentor. The mentors are not hard to find. It is your perception of who is mentoring you. The most important thing in you picking a mentor is, are you willing to learn? Because a mentor is a person who teaches you life in living it. Are you willing to learn from outside your profession by just observing, tacit knowledge? I may be wrong, because I come from an African background where we don't write things. We learn from folklore and tacit knowledge, where I don't know, people might look at me and I'll make you a meal and you think that I'm Gordon Blue chef. But one of my guests, or one person, a Muzungu, invited me to the house and make us an African dinner. And of course I said, I'll be happy to do that. I went to the kitchen and moved things from the kitchen island and started making chapatis, making mokimo, pilau, stew, and then we finished. Then we went to the table and she told her family, do not ask me to make this meal. She doesn't not weigh anything. She takes salt in her hand and throws it into the food. And that's the time I realized the clutter I had removed from the table were measuring instruments. Because I learned how to cook. I was mentored how to cook by my mother, who was a good cook, but I've never seen her measure anything. So I learned that way. So that's a mentor. She was not a trainer. She didn't train me how to cook using a book. We didn't take notes. We tested. We felt the dough. We looked at the consistency of the food. Tacit knowledge. So it's a mentor is a person you sit and you're comfortable with them. And then you kind of acquire that knowledge and borrow, download their experience to help you do the task at hand. Leadership and management. A leader is different from a manager. A leader normally or should do the right thing. And below them, there will be managers who are supposed to do that right thing the right way. Leadership looks, in the world and in your description, looks like the top. But leadership is a person who is open to listen to the people below them. And not only guide them, but actually persuade them to keep doing the right thing and doing it the right way. If all leaders, I'm not saying I'm the best, I fail because sometimes I don't know. But like in my docket, I was never trained as an administrator to administer human resource. I was never trained as an engineer or an architect or even as a lawmaker to take care of the planning docket. I am not in finances. I'm not an accountant and I know very little accounting. The one that I have picked on the way to be in charge of finances. So a leader is a person who is humble enough to listen, to learn, and take advice from the people below them that have the skills. I have 0 in ICT, okay. I can type a document on the computer and I can do a little bit more than most people on the computer, but I am not you. I don't know how to program a computer. It's a person who will come to understand that I cannot learn all the skills that I need to hold this docket. And be humble enough to know that people below you have the skills you need. It's a person who can manage to harness the skills, the goodwill, the passion, and enthusiasm of the people below them. That's my definition of leadership. And then you asked me, women in leadership. A mother is a leader whether she wants it or not. Because if she doesn't lead her household, especially the children, they get lost. Not that the father doesn't have value. I remember, even you remember growing up, you were more in your mother's apron strings than your dad's. You have a respect and you respect, and I know my father made a lot of impact in my life. But it is my mother that we lived life. And even today, and even the boys, they go to the mother first before going to dad, because a father holds a respectable and an authoritative position. So I remember my life, my father was very gentle, he was very careful. Even when he disciplined us, he would call you first of all, talk to you. You kuwa na makohea, na makohea is the ones that you cannot identify. That's the time he takes a cane and he tells you bring your hand, or he canes you on the buttocks because he was a teacher. Oh, my mother on the other hand, she was a ninja. And I guess I'm a ninja too. But it didn't inspire fear in us. It's from how we learned more, because we would be in her hair more times than we would be in our father's hair. So she's a leader because she didn't have a choice. She's thrown into it by being a mother. So when you talk of women in leadership, when they lead, and I don't know whether this is your perspective, it might be mine, but she comes with it to build, to correct, to inspire. When I joined the university to teach, I didn't expect to enjoy teaching, by the way. But now, today, I know that the most enjoyable job in the university is to actually go into class and interact with those students and see them fly. A woman would like to see not only her staff fly, she would like to see that they are wholesome. She empathizes. And she has an advantage when she's leader to see that what a man might not see. And I'm not cutting down men. They are amazing men leaders. But for a woman, she's right there. She'll probably see more through her sixth sense than a man could do. Actually, the world knows that when women and men work together, the productivity is higher. So I think right now what we miss is that mix, having enough of them, having enough of the women working with the men. And then there is that thing of being not just a woman, but being an African woman in leadership. We are still fighting the space of being heard. We are still fighting the space of being heard. Because right now there's a regulation that is even finding a lot of difficulties finding accent, the 30% gender rule. When you talk of gender in Kenya, people think you're talking about women. Because in every situation, getting 30% of women is the odd thing, not the usual. Yet the percentage of women in our population is 52%. They are truly the majority, holding less than 30% of the positions. But the day we realize that having more of them in the leadership is advantageous rather than competition, then it's all of us that will harvest that benefit. I'm not saying we reduce the men. I'm not saying that we don't involve them. But I'm just saying let both of them be involved, because when they work together, the productivity is higher. So much higher, like 70% higher. Yes. I would tell her, listen, child, trust God with everything in you. And do everything unto God. And trust Him that He knows your path. And that He's able to conquer any difficulties you will find. And then believe in yourself and take chances. Do not be afraid of making mistakes. For as long as you're making mistakes when you're endeavoring to do something good. Do not lose hope, no matter how difficult things are right now. And do not be afraid of difficulties, because even if you stay inside the house, you will still meet them. You'll still meet difficulties. Do not be afraid. Given a chance to dance or sit it out, I hope you dance. You know? That's a song by, what is his name? Ronald Keaton? I hope you dance. Given a chance, given an opportunity, immerse yourself in it. Learn as much as you can out of it and implement the good out of it. In life, look for good. In difficulties and in lessons, take the good and run with it. Aspire and purpose to do good. If you make mistakes in the process, no problem. If you break a limb in the process, fine, you will recover. But trust God and know that He is able to take you through a very tortuous journey and still bring out the good. If you purpose to do good, you will most definitely shine. Just do not give up. Trust God is able to get you out of whatever mess you are in. Fear. I was a little bit more daring than most, but I would change that. I would tell them, face your fears. Take advice. Learn from your mistakes. At least I have learned from a few of my mistakes. I have conquered fears. I would change the times I was fearful not to even ask for advice. I would change the times I was fearful that I would make a mistake and didn't take the chance. I would change the times I was fearful to take a leap. and face it because I was afraid. The fear of tomorrow. If I could change that when I was 16, I probably would be higher than where I am now. Not that I'm not thankful. I'm thankful for where I am, and I thank God because I wasn't even expecting to be here. But if I was to go to 16, the one thing I would change is that fear of taking chances. I mean good chances. For instance, sticking in employment. If I could go back there and not have the fear that I'll be out of resources and I'll not be able to take care of myself, I probably would have jumped out of employment and made a life, made a business, made an inspiring firm for others to be employed and grow from. That fear of failing. That's what I will change. Let me just say that, well, I'm thankful to God that I am here. And when I went to school, or if I was your age today and I was asked what I aspired to be, I don't think being where I am is what I would have said. And maybe like you have heard in the rest part of my interview is that I know God has changed my course and has led and allowed me to be in spaces I never thought I would be. And I'm humbled that young girls admire to be who I am today. To grow or to achieve. God has already given you a talent and a purpose. And I am sure you are acquiring skills. My advice to you right now is identify your passion, regardless of where you are in your field. In your field, if that's what you like doing, what about that field really ignites your passion? What fires you? If, for instance, you are in media, like the person taking this video, what in media really ignites your passion? If you're a doctor, if you're learning to be a medic, a nurse, if you're learning to be an architect, if you're here studying to be a laboratory medical person, if you're here learning to be an educator, what about education really fires your passion? Is it educating university students? Is it educating pre-nursery schools? Is it educating primary school kids? Is it educating children to do things with their hands the way the CBC wants us to do? What really ignites your passion? Once you know what you're passionate about, then go out there and study and learn and acquire skills to equip your passion. Because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to the work life, it's not just your skills. Your skills help, but your passion is what drives you. The other thing I would like you to let you know is that never lose your sense of wonder, your hunger for learning. And whatever situation you find yourself in, no matter how bad you think that job is, purpose to learn everything you can. From the work itself, from the people you work with, and even learn some more. Because in you, there is limitless, and I will repeat that, limitless potential. God has placed so much potential in you that if, for instance, your job depends on sight, on your vision today, it's what you're making a living with. And for some reason you lost that sight, God has something inside you that He will raise, and you can still scale the world-class heights with that other skill. So don't limit yourself. Don't fail to learn all you can learn where you are. And when God orchestrates that you take a directional change, move into that direction with hunger for learning like your life depends on it. That will inspire you to be world class regardless of what you pick from the university. When you graduate with your degrees here, the conferment of a degree gives you the power to read, learn, write, and do all that pertains to that degree. No degree has one line. There are several offshoots of what you come out with, that you can take different paths and still excel. I want to encourage you, if you are in the university or if you've already started a learning path, only you can limit you. The skies are not even a limit. And learning never ends. There are things that I never learned in school today that excite me. Let me give you a hint. When you go in front of a television, or if you had the choice to choose what you want to watch on telly, how do you gravitate to? What is it that you naturally watch without thinking? For me, I knew there were a few things. Nature, medicine, whether that involved people or animals, architecture. But most of all, it's nature. If I sit in front, if I was to watch even fictional movies, the ones that inspire me most are legal thrillers. The others will be nature, medical. And nature, I mean from astronomy, animals, plants, the oceans. That is what I'll gravitate to without struggle. And I'm not surprised that my passion, even today, is in nature. I am not in my own profession. But the profession I ended up being as a vet has so many offshoots. But by God's grace, I'm an administrator today. And that's a totally different field from the skills I acquired in school. But out of school, when you're given the power, the world becomes your university. Never lose your sense of wonder. Never lose your sense of learning. Never lose the hunger for acquiring skills and knowledge. You will excel. I'm trying to choose my words. Because when I look at you young people full of energy and with talent that you have not even unruffled, my parting shot would be like, go out there and soar. We, your mentors and your teachers and what you're looking up at today as your leaders, know and I expect you to fly to heights we cannot dream of. So go out there and explode. Be the stars. But in our dying years, we will lie down flat on the ground and watch high up there in the skies.
Thank you for watching today's episode. It has been a lovely session on women empowerment. Stay tuned on the next one.